Oh, you are blessed. So those who don't, you understand what I'm talking about. When you lose a parent, you lose one of the few people who love you unconditionally. Oh, no, I'm talking about good parents, because you might. I mean, normal parents, normal parents. They love you unconditionally. Whether you're, the best in your class or the worst, they still love you. Whether you've done this or that, they still love you. So this is very important, unconditional love. So for us, it's important. Many people, they think that God is not loving them, that God is punishing them for their mistakes and so on. So this is what Satan is working to put in the minds of all the people this kind of misperception about God. So it's very important to us when we love each other, when we are in unity, although, you might be sometime a jerk toward me, sometimes, you can, hurt me, but I'm still, in unity with you, I overcome them. So when we do that, we let the world know that God is loving them like he loved Jesus. So I don't have time to go into this, but I just wanted to point out why unity is not optional. And it doesn't depend on the performance of our church leadership or our church elder or of, the choir director in our church who is at odds with me. Unity doesn't depend on that. Because at stakes, there are bigger things than, these skirmishes, things which, sometimes they are. And this is, so Jesus says it's not my words. They also may be one, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me. So, if we want to evangelize, but our team is fighting, we undermine the very reason why we are doing it. We undermine. We might bet, God is working with us, and so, sometimes he saves us through this, and then we perform again. But sometimes it's better not to do it at all than do it in the name of the God, and you actually preach a different message than what God wants. And then here, the world may know that you have sent me. He repeats the same thing, and thou hast loved them as thou hast loved me. So it's important. It's not mandatory. It's not optional. It's mandatory. And our unity is a spectacle to the world. But same with our disunity. It's also the spectacle to the world. And here she's talking about sanitariums. There are none too many sanitariums. There is in our world a great field for true medical missionary work. Our sanitariums are to be as lights shining amid the moral darkness. In them the sick and suffering are to behold the miracle working power of Christ as revealed in the lives of the workers. When patients come to our lifestyle center, they watch us. And they are 50 years old, 60. They went through life. They have a feeling about how, if people are genuine, if their smile is genuine, if they have an ulterior motive, if they want to check for their church, they've done this to you, they try to convert you. So they feel that. So after a couple of days, 2-3 days, if we are genuine, they realize, well, man, there is something here. I never met this. I never met people. They always wanted something for me. They only wanted to, to take something or to do something to me. These people are different. I feel like they love me. Let me check this more. And I begin to ask and questions and we are told when they begin to ask about Sabbath, about this, about that, we should, spoon feed them, not give them all we know, because they open their mouth. To be, spirit-led just a little bit, and because, they really need to feel, and they will feel it if it's genuine. And this is powerful. This is powerful. As powerful as not being genuine. Because, they say, well, these are like everybody else. They want something for me. They want to brag to their church, or to check that, they've done their duty to God and to the church. No. When we talk about health evangelism, we are not talking about two separate things. Like evangelism, now we evangelize, and we need, somebody who talks about health to come and have a small talk before, so that people arouse the interest of the people, and then we get to the real thing. In the ministry of Jesus, we saw that teaching, preaching, and healing were one thing. Health evangelism means making the good news visible and practical in people's life. I mean, what is the purpose of a gospel if it doesn't help me in the small things of the life, in the daily life? Relieving suffering, improving function, and opening hearts for spiritual truth. Unity begins when we recognize that pastors, clinicians, health educators, and lay members are all serving the same mission, just through different channels. And, I go back to that quotation. Ellen White summarized this as Christ's method: to mingle with people, to show sympathy, to minister to their complex needs, and not all of us can minister to all of them. Sometimes you need a psychologist really to come in and minister to some of the needs of the patient, because you don't know how to do, or you might do wrong if you insist. When all our ministries align with this pattern, meeting physical, mental, social, and spiritual needs, we experience greater unity. Lifestyle medicine, and sanitariums for that matter, gives us an evidence-based framework for the ministering to needs part, especially for chronic diseases. Unity doesn't mean everyone does the same job. It means we agree on a shared platform, the core lifestyle principle that bless people's health. Pastor can preach and teach about health and whole person care. Clinician can prescribe and support lifestyle changes. Health educator can educate people, and chefs can show them exactly how to do a diabetes diet. Lay members can model and teach simple habits in home, churches, and communities. And here is where lifestyle medicine gives us a common scientific language we can all support, strengthening cooperation. What is lifestyle medicine? Well, I just want you to know that this subspecialty in the medical field was born on Loma Linda University campus. There were people who kind of agitated the issue around 2000, and there was a late comer, 11th hour. His name is John Kelly. I don't know if anybody knows John Kelly. Okay, he was an IT tech. up to his 40. And then for some reason, God called him to become a physician. That's a weird thing, you know. Schweitzer, the famous physician who came to Africa, to Gabon, I believe, Albert Schweitzer. He started he was a pastor, and he started his pastoral training at age 30. But John Kelly started at age 40. Anyway, he became a physician, and I think God called him to think, you know, as Adventists, our reason of being is to change the way medicine is practiced. To change the medicine is practiced. And he was fighting this. He said, God, you know, I'm even not the, you know, the best. Other people at 46 or 7, you know, they are best in there, they are best surgeons, you know, I'm just a fresh physician, and you call me to do this, you know, please look for somebody else with more experience. But, you know, the thought came back, and finally he said, okay, God, you know, if you want, I'll do it. But you are responsible. And so he kind of catalyzed all the other people. And so on the campus of Loma Linda, about 50 people came together, and they started the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. And they started because we as Adventists, we were preaching these things now for 150 years. We didn't call them lifestyle medicine. But we talked about lifestyle. Wildwood was called lifestyle before you know, the College of Lifestyle Medicine started. And so what is lifestyle medicine? It's not just healthful living. It's a clinical discipline that use evidence-based tools and lifestyle intervention as foundational therapy, not just optional add-on. So this is the foundation of therapy, and you give some drugs if needed, and when needed. We see at Hergelia what's happening when patients come. You can, you know, through the lifestyle medicine, you can prevent. You can do that. But you can treat also. It's a treatment. It's medication, a very powerful medication. Those who work in this field, they know what I'm talking about. And sometimes you can reverse conditions. At Hergelia, we have people who come with diabetes 2, disease, people who come with metabolic syndrome, with hypertension, heart disease. And you can see even in several days what changes take place. And of course, it's also the finger of God there. But great changes can happen through these. We also have GI inflammatory diseases. There are lots of those because, of course, people abuse the digestive system with everything which is for eating today. So that's a big issue. And then intolerances and all those. You don't have so many here, but as diagnosis tools increase, you will have more and more, because many of these symptoms like headaches, or you don't feel good, or these general symptoms many times come from some kind of intolerance to a certain kind of food. And there are now tests you can detect which is, you take it out and you feel much better and more productive. So it's a powerful medicine. Like I said, lifestyle medicine addresses prevention of chronic disease, treatment of existing disease, and partial or complete reversal in selected conditions, including anxiety and depression. Well, in the lifestyle medicine, they came out with 6 pillars. You know them. Whole plant predominant nutrition, physical activity, restorative, sleep, stress management, avoidance of risky substance, and positive social connectiveness relationship. This applies from childhood to old age in both primary care and specialist setting. Lifestyle medicine extends beyond the exam room. It's more than telling patients you should eat better and exercise more. It also influences how clinics are structured. Yeah. I'll leave with Andy the presentation. I usually give away the presentation so you can use it in your work. So we at OCI usually are not charging. Is it true, Andy? Like God, Jesus said, freely you received, freely you give. Sometimes it's not so appreciated, but those who need appreciate it. So it influences how clinics are structured. Sometimes you don't see just a patient, because in chronic disease you've seen that patient several times. So you see more patients together, newer and older, and so they are together. They can learn from your interaction with them. Then health coaches is not necessarily a physician, can be even a layperson who do health coaches. Its influences how health systems are paid. It's not paid on procedure or prescribing medication. It's paid on results. Did you improve or not? How communities are designed, access to healthy food, safe places to move, safe places for exercise, and how policy supports prevention. So lifestyle medicine has a system and population dimension, not just an individual one. Let's focus a little bit about, we are enthusiastic about lifestyle medicine, but there are some limitations. The first one is that many clinicians receive little formal training in lifestyle medicine during medical school or residency. This is a fact. Now here and there around the world there are medical school who try to put in the curricula. But as you know, the curricula for medical school is already so much cramped. And the books, they have to study very quick and very, it's people grinding machine, this. Well, in a sense, you don't want physicians to be careless or to not to know what they do. Okay, then another limitation is the fact that, you are paid as a physician. You cannot spend 1 hour with a patient because there are 30 or 40 people at the door. Short appointments and heavy workload make high-quality lifestyle counseling difficult. Another limitation, payment system often reward procedures and medications more than time spent on prevention and behavior change. Another limitation is the environment people live on. So as health educator, we have to be very careful on these. Maybe there is a community high in the mountain that the only thing they have are animals, because doesn't grow there. It's just grazing, and maybe they are lucky if they get some potatoes or something like that. So you go, as a health educator. Thank you, sister. Appreciate it. If you can open, I would appreciate it. And just leave it here. Thank you. And you go, freshly come from the light school, and preach them the total vegetarian diet. You have to be wise, and the spirit of prophecy is very clear. When we make mistakes, we should make mistakes on the side where the people are, closer to people, not running away. We look at what they are. Maybe the best thing for them are eggs or milk. Maybe that's the best thing they have. To go to some health food store, I don't know, 100 miles away and buy, you understand what I'm talking about. We can recommend a plant-based diet, but if patients live in a food desert with limited money, it's very hard. We can prescribe exercise, but unsafe neighborhoods, long working hours, or lack of childcare can stand in the way. Lifestyle medicine must therefore engage not only personal choices, but also community resources and public policy, or it risks sounding unrealistic. And Adventists, somehow they are prepared for this. Or they should. Because when you think of that system in which you think of all the needs, maybe instead of preaching about eating this and not eating that, maybe you have a club and you have more people going and it's more safety. Exercise, because I believe here, here is the same thing in the big cities. Things are not set up for exercise. I mean, it's not very inviting to go between the cars and to exercise on these roads, really. Now, a big limitation is this one: faith and spirituality. The minute you take something and make it a professional thing, then you cannot speak as a Christian, because the Muslim brothers or the Hindu brothers or whatever, they will be offended. The truth is that if Muslim would have started lifestyle medicine, we would have been offended, no? They will start their motions, and we Adventists are there, and now what to do? So it's kind of understandable when you try to do it a professional organization. You cannot just start with a prayer and with a song service. You cannot do that. But the problem is that there is a step further that people want. They say true lifestyle medicine is devoid of an agenda, a religious agenda. So you shouldn't, put your religious agenda into it. And this is the thinking. They want us to avoid explicit confessional faith language for professional reason. But it's very interesting that, Dean Ornish, if he comes with his Zen and with his, Oriental thing, and if people come with, that connection with, that's not a problem. That's exercise. That's relaxation. So this is one of the limitations. Spiritual dimension, trust in God, is often under address. And for us is the deepest source of motivation, hope, healing. Because when people come to our lifestyle center, one of the first things is we teach them to pray. Of course, we don't pray with them if they don't want it, but we ask them. But in our experience, 30 years, 40,000 patients. I can count on one hand those who say, no, don't pray for me. No matter what, even if they don't believe in God, they say, maybe it will help. Pray for me. So you don't have that. I think that's very important, because that's a first step when you invite God to be part, not to be part. You acknowledge God as being the main healer, all the mechanisms were invented by him. We don't invent anything, in the body. So we acknowledge, we give freedom to God to act in healing that person. And this is what generally the professional lifestyle medicine is taking away from the equation. Well, I want to be clear, not every person doing yoga or mindfulness is adopting an Eastern religion, but practices are not as neutral as they are presented. The main idea is that practice still carry the worldview assumption, how we are getting free. A practice can look purely physical or physiological while still carrying assumption about what a human being is, what suffering is, what the self is, what healing means, what salvation or liberation look like. And yoga carries that. It's not just simple exercise. You connect with I don't know what. You are elevated to I don't know what. You have in yourself the power. And this sounds pretty much like Genesis. In its original religious philosophical setting, yoga is not just stretching. It is tied to larger ideas such as disciplined transformation of the self. You can do it. Detachment from ordinary desire, altered consciousness, union with I don't know whom, union, liberation, transcendence, a metaphysical picture of body, mind, and the ultimate reality. When yoga is imported into modern wellness culture, much of that is stripped away, but not always all of it. And so you can see through this, one can save themselves by themselves. No need of savior. You become the center, not God. You are the ultimate reality, not God. Salvation by works. It's important what you do. And in Great Controversy, page 88, the Spirit of Prophecy says, there are but two religions in the world. First one, man have invented. Man saves himself by ceremonies and good works. The other is that one religion which is revealed in the Bible and which teaches man to look for salvation solely to the free grace of God. Looks good, feels good, but ultimately leads to crime. Desire of Ages, 286. They originate in man's desire to exalt himself above God, but they result in degrading man below the brute. Every religion that wars against the sovereignty of God defrauds man of the glory which has his at the creation and which is to be restored to him in Christ. So actually, many of these Eastern, they really enticed you with some kind of glory you will receive. You will nirvana. You will be, like Satan says. Your eyes will open. You will be big. But actually defrauds man of the glory which was his at the creation and which is to be restored to him in Christ. Every false religion teaches its adherents to be careless of human needs, sufferings, and rights. The gospel places a high value upon humanity as the purchase of the blood of Christ, and it teaches a tender regards for the wants and woes of men. Now, she talks about the real Christianity. As you know, we can quote a lot, and Islamists quote that, and Hindu, all the atrocities which Christians did in the name of the Lord. So she's not talking about that kind of Christianity. She's talking about the true Christianity, and usually it was persecuted. Okay, these are some of the limitations which we have to keep in mind. But this doesn't mean that we should throw overboard lifestyle medicine. We should employ it because it has a lot of evidence-based, but we should, you know, in our institution, in our work, you know, we cannot, you know, take out God. If we take out God, then we might as well go home and do something else, and not, you know, no sacrifice, no sacrifice. What are the opportunities? Well, lifestyle medicine strongly fits with value-based care. Providers rewarded for better outcomes and lower cost. And this is what happens at the end of the session, those who have a lifestyle center. You see how people came, even their faces changed in as short as 10 days. And then their testimonies. That's value-based medicine and care. And then, because lifestyle medicine is intensive and holistic, you know, addresses all the areas of somebody's life, it naturally calls for teamwork. You cannot do it alone, whether you're a physician, a nurse, or a therapist, or massage therapist. It calls for a team. You need dietitian, you need health coach, you need psychologists, you need physical therapists, you need social worker, nurses, physician, community health workers, and where appropriate, chaplains. I'm saying where appropriate. There are some cultures where, you know, if you call somebody a chaplain, that's the end of the interaction. So, in the beginning, we felt that about the Romanian society and said, why don't we make each nurse and each therapist a chaplain? So we brought in pastors with psychological training, we brought in health coach, and we educated our nurses and our therapists. And so they weren't the same guy or the same, you know, person who came in. They grew. They knew how to give Bible studies. So they were chaplains. Now we have a chaplain. You know, the society kind of opened, and it's not so reluctant. Now we have a pastor, a chaplain. And he, you know, even from the beginning, he's scheduling meetings with the patients, and it's wonderful. That idea is that lifestyle medicine and sanitarian work and medical missionary work, as we know, it calls for teamwork. And in a sense, models unity in health evangelism. Is exactly what we were talking about, unity. We have different skills. We have different, you know, dietitian, you know, can talk about nutrients and how those nutrients meet the need or can be used as treatment. But the physical therapist, he knows a lot about our muscle and muscle system, articulation. A dietitian doesn't know that. And so many things which affect us because we are sitting a lot today, you know, affects us. And so that's very important to have a physical therapist in your team. Everybody's important and brings a contribution. Then other opportunities about lifestyle medicine, education and technology. Lifestyle medicine is developing rapidly. More training programs, fellowships, certification are available. Telehealth, apps, and remote monitoring allow us to reach patients at home. Now we have these watches, you know, which really, you know, can tell you how you sleep. If you have sleep apnea, and sleep is becoming very, very important. You know, people. I don't know if in your country people recognize, but you know, people recognize sleep is one of the most important health core. You know, issue. Research on lifestyle intervention outcomes is expanding. We did research, maybe I'll share with you Sunday about this. All of this makes it more feasible to build lifestyle medicine into routine care and to partner lifestyle medicine programs with health evangelistic initiative. One training which we will do in this area, combining Adventist understanding of healthcare with lifestyle medicine, is going to happen in Hergelia. It's happening actually every year, and it's specifically geared to train health professionals and future leaders of lifestyle medicine centers. So this training is designed specifically for those who want to start a lifestyle center. It's gonna be from September 20 to October 4, 2026. The language will be English. And the purpose is intensive hands-on training to start, develop, and manage a faith-based sanitarium or lifestyle medicine center in the 21st century. You will learn to turn a health mission vision into a realistic master plan, design services that combine clinical care, lifestyle medicine, and wellness, what kind of services you will offer, organize governance, it's important how to organize the organization, staffing and financial sustainability, integrate spiritual, mental, and physical care in daily operation, apply the Adventist Sanitarium System Accelerator project guide step by step to your content. Together with the Health Ministry's department at the GC, we designed at Hergelia 21st Century Adventist Sanitarium System Accelerator. I call it first Adventist Sanitarium franchise. But many people didn't like because, you know, said, no, Adventist franchise is not a McDonald's in the North. In Europe, and even, you know, they have like a Cleveland Clinic, you know, affiliation, and or in Turkey, or, you know. So this is, access to this is 500 euro. Is it right, Andy? 500, no, to this material on our website is 500 euros. Yeah. I thought he knew. No, it's free. It's free. So you have here, you know, but it's costly. Because it might deal with some of the prejudice you have. We have a little bit more time. When we started the project in Romania, we were poor. And we thought that we need to build poor because we are poor. So we need to build small because we are poor. The bathroom should be small because we are poor. So we did that. Our bathroom was 1.5 meters by 1 meter and by 7. And there was not a shower, there was just a curtain. But guess what? The water goes down, usually, not up. And and our floor in the small room was wooden floor, like you have. And what happens when the water goes to a wooden floor, like parquet? Pops up. And that's what happened in a couple of rooms. We learned very quickly that we need to put a shower in. So somebody from Germany donated showers. But now we deal with another problem. Putting a shower was very small. I mean, maybe people like him would have survived, but, you know, people a little bit, then they hit, when they wash, they hit the shower. And so after 10 years, we had to knock down everything inside our beloved sanitarium, everything. And of course, we wished somebody would have come and tell us that a regular room should be about 25, 26 square meter, even if it takes 1 year more or 2 years more to build. And regular bathroom should be 4 square meter, not 2 square meter or whatever we had. And if you should have maybe a couple of rooms or so where somebody with a wheelchair will come in, because handicapped people need to, be able to access our. So if somebody would have told me that, Nick, he said, you're poor, but don't build like this. You cannot, because you are poor, you cannot afford to build, because in 10 years you'll knock everything down, and you'll do this to gain 15 centimeters for the bathrooms, because we could not go more, because there won't be space for 2 beds in the room. You understand why this is important? Maybe you won't do the design, or you won't do hallways at the lifestyle center 4 meters wide. But you will do the right size of bathroom, the right size of, you understand, yeah? So I should have put the, for the Adventist Sanitarium System Accelerator, you have learn more here. So you, in the break, you take this, and whoever wants, don't take it because I have only 3. Just take a screenshot of the QR code, and it will take you directly to the site. And at the site, the format is in a printable format. So whenever you want, you can print this for yourself. That's not free, but it's as much as possible to close to the free. So in this training, we will go through all these ideas. For whom? For health professional, physician, nurses, people who feel called by God to work in a lifestyle center, lifestyle wellness, lifestyle practitioner, and emerging leaders. So it can be somebody who has a little bit administration or accounting, or anyway, feels called by God to work in a lifestyle center, because you don't need only health. You need also people who understand business, understand administration. You need those kind of people too. And the training faculties, all our leaders at Ergelia, Dr. Zeno Charles Marcel, the director of GC Health Ministries, will be present also. For physicians especially, because physicians need a little bit more training aside of the general training, how to transition from allopathic medicine to lifestyle medicine. We have Dr. George Guthrie. He will be all the time there and will work with physicians. And yeah, and other people from Loma Linda University. Okay, we were at the opportunities in lifestyle medicine. This is also a great opportunity. Now, this is only for physicians. It will be in September in the first 2 weeks. After this will be how to start a lifestyle center. But before, the first 2 weeks will be this clinical lifestyle medicine fellowship training for physicians. It will start with 2 weeks on the campus at Ergelia. Then for 1 week, the physician will have to work on, the homework, online fellowship, doing the whatever is there to be done. And then the last 2 weeks of the year, they will come back at Ergelia, and it will be accredited internationally. So with this accreditation, you can use it internationally. Most probably through the International Board of Lifestyle Medicine. And this is John Kelly. I was talking to you. It was the founder of lifestyle, the College of Lifestyle Medicine, American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Okay, this is the QR code. You can get to the site, to the landing page, and you know there is how to subscribe. That again, this is only for the physician. This is for those who want to start, whether health professional or other kinds of in the lifestyle center. But it's more to our leadership. Long before lifestyle medicine was defined, the Adventist health message emphasized very similar principles. You know the 8th physician, yeah? This was presented as a heaven-given blueprint for health reform, preparing a people to honor God in body, mind, and spirit. Revelation 14. Of course, to me, the Adventist health message is more complex than lifestyle medicine because it emphasizes trust in the Lord. It emphasizes the temperance, willpower, and those are all probably the hottest subject of research right now in social sciences. Self-control, balance, avoidance of temperance is a very hot topic, like also power of will. And the Bible and the spirit of prophecy has a lot to say about this, or appetite. There is now a peer-reviewed scientific journal, Appetite. That's how it is called. With research on appetite, connection with everything. So the modern research supports centrality of temperance and importance of self-control in human development. So we should not be afraid of lifestyle medicine. We should regard it as a child of the health message, but a professional child which you know, it's neutral religiously, and we use the best of it, which is the evidence-based, you know, research, lots of research, lots of papers on these which we can use. Another dimension which is in the spirit of prophecy in our health message is the environment and nature. Clean, natural environment, healing environment is very important. Pure water, fresh air, sunshine, simple surrounding. Of course, those who live in the cities is difficult, but you do the best you can. To summarize, lifestyle medicine gives us a powerful evidence-based way to prevent, treat, and sometimes reverse chronic disease. It faces real limitations, especially in addressing the spiritual dimension in a pluralistic environment. The Adventist health message overlaps strongly with lifestyle medicine, but adds deeper moral, spiritual, and environmental dimensions. The call is to bring this together, to let lifestyle medicine and Adventist health principles work hand in hand, to strengthen unity in health evangelism, and to better relive Christ's method to the world. Okay. We can open now the floor for a couple of questions. And regarding the questions, we discussed with Andy, probably the best thing it would be to write. We won't be able to address all the questions. But if you came with some questions you have in your mind and you really prayed for answer to those questions, the best thing is to write them down and give them to Andy. Is that okay, Andy, to give it to you? Yeah.
Anything that. So we can spend maybe 5 minutes for questions which you may forget or need to be urgently addressed now. Otherwise, we can write them down, then we can address them after the second session. So perhaps if there's a burning question now, can be addressed, or comments.
naturopathy. Is that also our thing, or it's something we are borrowing from elsewhere? Among the principles of lifestyle medicine, do we have anything like herbs and the use of nature's elements?
Did I understand correctly? Because you had more questions in one. You talked about naturopathy. Well, we in Adventists we try to see wherever God tried to do something, Satan came in and tried to alter and to. The idea of using natural remedies is in there, as you see. Hydrotherapy, everything we do. But naturalism came with the idea of a connection with nature, of nature being something much more powerful than just being nature. And so we try to stay away of that. We use terms which very clearly define what we do. So naturopathic has a little bit of how should I say, this that God is in all the things. What is that? It has a twist on pantheism. They embrace that, and they promote that, which we don't believe. We don't believe that God is in this. We know God is everywhere, but or in that tree, or and because He's in there, then it will help me or so. No, we believe that there is a power of God which sustains. The power of God sustains everything. He put in motion. He put all these laws, and His power sustains and makes all these laws to work the same all the time. And so we in the beginning chapters of medical ministries, Sister White addressed this very idea: how it is with God. Is He just a power, or He's the power who sustains? All those questions. So that's why we don't go into naturopathy and all those things. We try to stay with the health message, and yeah. No. Also, there was this Günther, don't know the other name, with raw food. Again, the same idea that raw has some vital energy, which you partake, and of course he was also feeding his patients raw liver from the same purpose. Not only raw fruits and vegetables. So I think we should. I have a list of resources from where to get our resource. And we have to be sensitive also to the language, what language we use. 30 years ago, this language we used today, it was regarded as Quakery, as Quakery. How would you? Falsity, but today, if you go on Harvard's website, I receive materials from there. They're like how to train pain without surgery and medication. They would have not written like this 30 years ago. Now they want to have a place at the table of lifestyle medicine because. So yeah, we need to be sensitive to the. But definitively, the Adventist health message is pro-nature. It uses nature as God remedies. acknowledging that, you know, it was created by God, and God sustain all the treatments we do, blesses according to, you know, with His power. Any other question? If not, yeah.
Yes. Hi, my name is Bernard, and I'm seeking clarification. Earlier on, when discussing on opportunities, you mentioned accountable care models. Accountable care models.
Mhm.
So, could you really expound on what you viewed as lifestyle medicine being accountable?
Well, you know, right now, the way the healthcare goes, physicians and other healthcare professionals are paid on procedures. If you do this, the consultation is this much, this treatment is this much, and then they are also paid by prescription. You know what kind of medication they prescribe and so on. Excuse me. The very idea we have to when we think about healthcare, we shouldn't look at it as one thing. It's a big difference, a huge difference between surgery, let's say. Of course, people can do surgeries where it's not needed, and it is done, unfortunately. But let's say, it's needed. So surgery is a different story than treating chronic diseases. And we compare apple with apple. So when we talk about lifestyle medicine, we talk about chronic diseases, yeah? We are not talking about somebody, broke his leg, or somebody was in accident and we try to do it. So for those things, the acute medicine, it's well organized, it's well run and so on. We are talking about chronic disease. In chronic disease, you go to a physician in town here, they still believe that diabetes is a degenerative chronic disease and is not reversible. They still believe that. And they behave like that. And it tells you, you will be all your life, we try to control these as much as possible, but eventually, it will go down. So that's the thinking. And then, when somebody is incurable, you see the patient, you give medication, you change medication. Many times the goal is not really to bring the blood sugar between 70 and 90. If it's 110, yeah, you're doing good. It's okay, we'll give a little bit more medication. So that's, that's not what, you cannot be really accountable. In this system, you cannot be accountable because it's much more accountable when in a lifestyle you tell, okay, this is what you need to change. We will help you. But you have to change the way you eat, the way you exercise, the way you sleep. And this is how you need to do. This is, and if you allow us, we can check. Because this can be connected with, and people see what you do, what you exercise, and so on. And so there is accountability. Now we have a system to get you out of the ditch. And these are the steps. We are accountable. And as a physician. Now that doesn't mean that I don't have to know the 1,000 or 1,500 medication these other physicians know. Lifestyle medicine is not a shortcut not to learn them anymore. You still need, because many times you need to de-prescribe. So in order to know how to de-prescribe drugs, you really need to know how to prescribe. So, but it's more accountable. Because now you have a clear path, okay, to improve, to stop the to get into remission. Okay, I guess we should get into a break now. And like I said, if you have questions, then give it to him, and we'll try to answer. Sometime I should share a picture of my family, and tomorrow I'll talk a little bit more about where I'm coming from. Maybe tomorrow I'll share some when I give my testimony. Okay, I think. Well, in a life experience of 6 years, it's not so easy to boil it down in 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. So I just pray that God will help me to answer some of the question you have in your mind. Let me just to get a feel about who is in the room. How many of you are currently working in a lifestyle center, smaller or bigger? Is anybody? Just show of hand. Okay, so we have several people. How many of you are dreaming or have a vision someday in the future to work in a lifestyle center? I want the show of hand. Okay, God bless you. And in terms of with whom we are talking, how many of you here are health educators? Health educators. How many of you, do we have any nurse? One nurse. Is any physician with us today? Pardon me? Well, when I say physician, it's somebody who, finished a medical school, and whether he's in family practice or whether he's in clinic or a specialist. That's what. Are there also people who are not really trained in medical field, but they feel like they have a call as, yeah.
So we have also another group of clinicians or allied and clinical officers as well.
Yeah, usually allied, also nutritionists. There are nutritionists here, or physical therapy, or there is a lot of allied health. Okay. So the first thing I want to share with you, I don't know, is this possible to make it a little bit clearer? From where is clarity? Okay, thank you. So, like I said in the beginning, I don't want to discourage anybody. Everybody and anybody who is trying to do something for the Lord, blessings on you. So, any effort which anybody does for Jesus, Jesus even said that, if you give a glass of water, yeah? It's accounted for and it's important. So in this is pretty much the spectrum of Adventist healthcare ministries. Adventists are involved in all of them. And it starts from simple things. Well, some of them are not so simple. I mean, cooking classes looks like simple, but it's a lot of work. But anyway, what I wanted to say by simple is that you don't need a lot of approvals. You don't need to go to the medical school in order to do a health expo. Yeah, so that's the meaning of simple. Simple in terms of training, formal training. And as you go from here, it's more complex. And then another thing is that in the first 2 or 3, you don't really need necessary physician. When physicians are present, they can bring an added blessing, and it's a more impactful. But you know, if you say, well, I cannot do this because I'm not a physician, or we don't have in our church, in our group of physicians, it's false. We can do this up to here. But starting from here, starting from lifestyle centers, starting from what the spirit of prophecy call sanitariums, you cannot operate without a physician. Well, some do, but that's not what is the counsel in the spirit of prophecy and the balanced judgment. And then, you know, there are hospitals who offer this, like it's a section of their work is a lifestyle center. And then, of course, the Adventist operates hospitals, and I mean, hospitals should run like a sanitarium. Yeah, I understand the complexities, but I don't want to go further into this. The gospel of Christ is to be bound up with medical missionary work. And medical missionary work is to be bound up with the gospel ministry. So like I said before, you know, everything we do as Adventists should be connected with this. We often have ministers from Baptist and Pentecostal churches. And after they go through the session, they tell this, and many times they came up to me and said, Brother Dan, I didn't realize the connection between spirituality and health, but now I got it. I don't know how we didn't preach, we didn't emphasize this in our churches, you know, because it's so obvious and we lost a lot. Now I understand. There is a close connection between spirituality and health. Sanitarian work is one of the most successful means of reaching all classes of people, not only rich people, all classes of people. Actually, I boiled down a few things from the spirit of prophecy. One of the most effective agencies for giving light to the world in 6 testimonies originated and invented by the Lord imitating Jesus' earthly ministry, counsels on earth. So this is God's idea, not Kellogg's idea or Ellen White's idea or Nick Dan's idea. The Lord has repeatedly given instruction regarding the importance of this institution and the necessity for its establishment. So we are talking now in a country, what do you think? Especially the Lord has repeatedly given instruction when in the spirit of a prophecy says that this is not her idea. I think it's important to do this. No, when the Lord repeatedly emphasized this. Highest aim of the workers is to be the spiritual health to the patient. So its core is spirituality. So everything else revolves around spirituality. Sanitariums are part and parcel of the third angel message, counsels to health. Works in all the world for all classes. It has a universal appeal. When we started, many people in Romania said, this is an American model. It won't work here. You know, why, you know, you jeopardize your future if you get involved in something like this. But my father, who read the spirit of prophecy, says, you know, don't listen to them because they don't know what they are talking about. It's interesting that water with sugar sells in all countries of the world. It's interesting. But God's idea is not fit for some of the countries of the world. I'm talking about Coca-Cola and the likes. Both plants the gospel seeds and reap the harvest. So it's not like okay, let's have a 5 minutes before the real evangelistic, sermon. Let's have a little bit of hook, to plant maybe some seeds with. No, it also reap. So when we work in a lifestyle center and we work as mission, we don't only. Maybe somebody else thrown the seeds long time ago. We just harvest these, and many times it happens. Successfully, rightly conducted, and church is on board. So there is no sanitarium concept outside of the church. There is not such a thing like I establish something, and they are not they are not doing, they are not we are the real Adventists, and we'll show them. So the moment you step outside and you don't work with the church, that's not a sanitarium. Anyway, the bottom line is the sanitarium concept is timeless and ahead of its time. So talking about the steps, there is not a magic formula, like you do this, and then you do that, and then you do this. No, it's not like a surgical procedure, or it's many of these, like the first one, preparation and culture, overlaps because you have to read in the medical field, you have to read always. In nutrition, you have to read always. In physical therapy, all the time you need. Physician assistant, that's if you don't like to read or to be updated, then it's not for you. And we should like to read. I mean, medical missionary work missionaries should read. And then vision and dreams. And this goes with vision and mission, actually, not dreams. Vision and mission. I mean, this is something which you refine all the time. You cannot say, well, I received this from Angel Gabriel and that's it. So, it's something which you have to change. The environment is changing so rapidly now. The way people think is changing so rapidly. Your kids don't think like you thought, thought when you were like them. So I guess you're experiencing the same thing here with the kids, with everything, with the internet and so on. Explore existing experience. It's very important before you build something to look at what other did. I mean, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You look, you visit several places, and you take something from here, something from there. We've been trained in Wildwood, Uchee Pines, Weimar, Loma Linda University, and we took things from all of these. It's not like, okay, wow, that's Wildwood this is Wildwood model, this is the blueprint. I will talk about the blueprint, but I just want to tell you that there is no blueprint. If there would have been a blueprint which guarantees success, then Ellen White, James White, Battle Creek would have been the most successful place since it started. And in the 10 years of existence, before Dr. Kellogg came, after the insistence of the Whites, because he didn't want it to come to Battle Creek. So in the first 10 years, they struggled. So that's why there is no blueprint. There is just a lot of, seeking God's face, a lot of work, a lot of thinking, a lot of looking around, a lot of, because, you see, I guess by now you know that God doesn't like robots. I mean, he doesn't give us like, okay, this is for you, your life, 100 points, go point by point, check everything, and then we'll see you in the, heavenly kingdom. No, he call you, and then you have to discover together with God the road, and in this process you mature. You know that if you tell a kid everything he has to do, and he needs to listen to everything you do, what kind of children do you raise? So I think that's why there is no blueprint. Yeah, there are some people who promote heavily blueprint. Yeah, this is the blueprint, but that's their own idea. They promote their own ideas and they want to impose it on other people. Okay. Again, this network with church leaders, business, this should start very early. I find again and again, wherever I go, that when you work with a church, the likelihood to succeed is much bigger than when you don't. And you know, this is the way God organized things, and this has nothing to do with the performance of the leadership of the church, or no. It has to do with that unity. God blesses unity. Even if we don't vote exactly on woman ordination or on nature of Christ or on, I don't know, I call these things the eighth wheel of the car. But you know, we pretty much agree that on the four wheels, which keeps the car running, and I find this everywhere I go that it's true. And then you know, there is another issue as administrators of the church. The church administrators, and anyway, in administration you deal with problems. You know, those of you who are administrators, you deal with problems. You don't deal with when things are going right, because that's natural. So all the problems come to you. And so they are wary of medical missionary fanatics. Have you met medical missionary fanatics? Yeah. So they are doing a lot of damage. You know, in the great controversy, there is this idea that when God wants to do reform, then Satan comes and he does counter-reform. And the best counter-reform is done through extremist fanatics. So they are doing the most damage, not the liberals. Yeah. So very important to connect, network with the church, but with other OCI organization. There is a sisterhood or brotherhood of many. We have about 50 or 60 lifestyle center or more. And so there is a wealth of know-how you can tap into by networking. So the idea is that you build a team. You don't build it in the sixth. I put it here, but you start building the team when you get to the vision and they begin to study. You begin to form the team. Okay. Just in a nutshell, I want to go, maybe not all the people will be here when we got to all the points. Why I say that the first step is preparation and culture. Study the sanitarium subjects from the spirit of prophecy and best actual lifestyle medicine practice. Although it seems like I was against theory in the first part, theory has its place, and studying has its place. And I don't mean only to study only the books, you know, the red books, the spirit of prophecy. You need to read more than that. But if you go to the spirit of prophecy and counsels on health, medical ministry, and you read about characteristics of physician, manager, administrator, chaplain, some of the key people, it emphasizes people of culture. You know, reading, understanding cultures, understanding tribes, understanding mentalities helps you to minister to the people, because you didn't call people of different tribes to make them like your tribe in the sanitarium, to think like your tribe, and you really need to understand all the people and to be able to go down and go up. It depends on the kind of people are coming. So that's why I think, and then how do you want to start, God said to Sister White, many times, okay, you need to emphasize he's right about sanitariums, and then she wrote a lot. But, you are engaged in that work, but you didn't read. You didn't study what God said through the spirit of prophecy. You didn't contextualize. It's not like God dictated everything and you take 3 words and put them in gold and that's it. No, you have to read this, you read that. Yeah, cheese is bad, but maybe it was especially that kind of cheese which, they had in camp meetings and there no refrigeration, what happens with cheese. That's, something that has even like an acid there, but it's different than, the cottage cheese. And, you really have to really understand, to study what's there and not to be, okay. So that's the first thing. And when you study with other people, you build actually a very important platform for your work. Because like in a marriage, before the marriage you have to discuss a lot of things, not after, before, to know if you have a common platform. I mean, there is a place where you can regroup after fights and after difficulties, or there is no place where to regroup because each one thinks differently about kids, about how to spend money, how to spend vacation, about all these things. So that's the why it's so important to study together, to prepare together, because then you find this other guy actually he doesn't want to work sacrificial. He thinks that even as an Adventist, he sacrificed enough in the school for so many years, and now when it's time to ripe, let other people. I sacrificed 26, 30 years. Now let other people sacrifice. And so you find out by studying together all these things, and there is a time to agree to build a platform. Of course, salary is always a problem. But once we agreed as a committee that we go to Spirit of Prophecy, we accept that vision. Then but it's much easier than not having that kind of platform. Then where you go, some people say, well, it's inhuman to pay such a small salary. I mean, maybe it's half the salary of the physician outside, and it's inhuman. But there are many people in that country which live with half that salary. You understand what I'm meaning? And this is what Adventists say, not non-Adventists, that this is unacceptable to give such a low salary because people are working. So this is a different philosophy, a philosophy where sacrifice, there is no place for sacrifice. I wonder what these people will say if they knew that Jesus comes in 1 year. They will think the same. I wonder. Okay, vision and mission. So, you see, I told you the other hour that when God speaks to you, you know it. My father was walking on the streets in the 50s in Romania, and he was a new convert. He read the Spirit of Prophecy, a great controversy, where Russia and China are not the main power, not communism is supposed to bring down the earth. So he read that actually United States is the power and so on, and he was, bothered in his mind. He was praying to God. God, the way you will end the world is not like you write in the Great Controversy. It's going to be end by Russia, China coming together, because that was it looked like. They came together. There was a huge potential with Cuba, the Cuba missiles. And he told me that God spoke to him and said, no, it will happen exactly how it is written. And the first step will be that China will depart, will separate from Russia. And, especially, when he told me I was a young medical student with science, I thought, Father, did you hear a voice? Because sometimes, people who hear voice are problematic. No, he said, no, I didn't. It wasn't like a voice, like your voice. But he said, when God speaks, you are sure. You are sure who speaks. And of course, it was a, and he told me later on, he was listening to, after the communist government in '89 collapsed in Romania, he was listening to the Voice of America. And the speaker there said, the collapse of the communist system, the first step, China parted ways with Russia. The speaker said that in the Voice of America. So, when God calls you, it's a little bit foggy, a little bit more. Because many times it's like before everything was clear, I had a job, it was very clear, but now, he calls me to establish a lifestyle center. Oh, that changes completely everything, and it's totally foggy because I never started. I then never went to a school. They taught me maybe this or that, or how to be a physician, how to be a nurse, or how to be something, but never did you hear about a school where they teach you how to start a lifestyle center? No, it's okay. So, but then you really have to work with God and to read a lot and to look and to sharpen that vision. And sometimes it sharpens only if you step forward, if you stay and wait until everything will be clear, wait until you have 50% of the funds on hand. You can wait, and you will wait forever. And it's this sense of calling which is extremely important. People can be disillusioned, they think they were called to do I don't know what. But this is with a lot of humbleness that God is calling. Like he called John Kelly to change the way medicine is practiced. he thought that in the beginning is a joke, it's his mere mind, pulling tricks on him. But only discovering this holy person, your life project, when you can single-minded approaching the. See, it's like you burn the bridges. There is no way then going forward. You remember there were people coming to Jesus and ask him to be the perfect lawyer. He's the best lawyer in the universe. But he said, no, that's not why I was called to divide land on earth. I was called to save humanity, and that's why I'm focusing on this. So, developing vision based on Bible, spirit of prophets, unbiased science, the experience of others, very essential, very important. Explore existing experience. Visit prayerful many sanitariums and ask questions. Ask, how do they get their people? What is their best method to hire, to find human resources? How do they get their physician? How do they train their people? All the question, pray for the best questions. How did they do in the beginning? How did they work with an architect? How did they with the land? Is enough to have 4 hectares of land, or you need more? All those questions. And find somebody to mentor you. There is a group in France who came to the first, we started this How to Start a Lifestyle Center training in 2023. We had teams in training, but it was not formal. But now from 23, so we have a formal program, which, it's structured. So a team from France, not a team, a group of people who wanted, all of them sanitarium, came from France. And out of those people, there was a physician who kept calling me, kept talking to me. I'm a little bit suspicious when older dogs want to learn new tricks. You heard about that, yeah? I mean, people over 45, 50, now they want to start something. And that's why, you know, John Kelly's is an outstanding story. Because as we grow old, unfortunately, we are less flexible, less willing to take risk. We are so wise, we know everything which can happen and everything which can go wrong. Young people don't think like that. They don't think maybe at all that things can go wrong. Things can go only good for people who have all the life before them. So I have this physician. Out of all those people, there were about 13 people, 13. Just one person kept calling me again and again. I don't think that I'm the best mentor or I am a good mentor, but the person kept calling me, kept asking me this, that, and I was surprised because, you know, it's over 40. And I was surprised to see how teachable that person is. Now, when you find and you meet a teachable person, smart, well, that's great. That's great. Okay, find somebody to guide, to mentor, to help you in the process. Church. There are many quotations about the importance of working together with the church. So, you have to know the church is working with budgets. I mean, the church is working, you know, the tithe, no? It's coming, so it's a kind of predictable budget. So that's our budget. This will pay the pastors, we'll do this, we'll do that. And they, since it's not a private enterprise, they have to work with committees. Of course, the president has a little bit more power than others, and you know, he's the leader. But usually the way they take decision is through committees. And this can be cumbersome because sometimes, you know, it takes a lot of time to go up and down and so on. But you need to understand that. So you cannot go today and expect tomorrow an answer. You know, it takes time, but you have to understand that dynamic and don't ask the church to be something else, to run as a business. Ministries, on the other hand, they are, especially in the beginning, they are more flexible. They can take a quick decision. You know, maybe a committee, a local committee, get together with the president. They take a decision. They move. So you have to understand this distinction and not to be critical about how the church moves and so on and so forth. But it's very, very important, a good relationship with the church. Now, another area, another step is to make a comprehensive financial and development plan in several phases. Young people have the tendency not to do this, to just go ahead and not to make any estimation, to put a foundation and see. The reason why is that, you see, and this material, the Adventist Sanitarium System Accelerator, you will find 5 samples of sizes of sanitariums, from 15 rooms to 75 rooms. Now, when you want to build something, let's say this is the 30 rooms on the left side. But this is just a computer rendition. How the architect in Hungary thought to build something like this. So it probably doesn't have relevance for Kenya, yeah? But in order to get to this, and in order to get to these floor plans, this is the first floor where the therapy is. It's a lot of work. It's years of work. I don't know if you planned a complex building, but especially in health, you have to go, you have to visit different places, you have to speak with specialists, you have to consult with laws, and so it's a lot of research going into this. And let me tell you, when we work for God, should we be more true and precise than when we work for people, other people? What do you think? So that's why we need to project how much it will cost, but that's after we know the architectural details. Establish the phases of project and cost. I mean, you don't need to have all the money in order to put the foundation and to begin to build. Of course, develop marketing and fundraising skills. Unless you decide that you will just spray like the guy from England, what is his name? Who just sprayed for orphanage. He never asked. William Miller, no? Unless you decide to go that route, which is okay, but most of the Adventist pioneers didn't go that right. They went fundraising, including Sister White and so on. Then you'll have to learn some of this. You will have to learn how to tell people. You will have to learn how to write an ASI proposal. And actually that helps you, because helps focusing, refining your vision. You see, your vision might, when in the morning when you wake up and you were thinking for 2 hours, might sound great, but when you meet real people and they begin to ask questions, maybe you'll find out, well, I have to work on this vision. So it's a fundraising, it's an opportunity to grow and to help others too, to be part of the ministry. Team building and training. So this is probably the most important thing. How do you select team members? How do you find team members? It's essential to have a common theological platform. It's essential not to bring in the team people who are majoring on minors. They are always, with something. Understand? And as I said, it's important to study, discuss together the blueprint councils. I'm using also, the spirit of prophecy, what is written there. It's important to study. You develop the team this way. Find complementary talent. So don't bring only people who likes you. Well, you should be friends. You could work, but think of complementary people. Not all of them to be like melancholics, perfectionists. You need also some phlegmatics, sanguines, to bring people together. I don't know. It's my feeling that here people kind of like sanguine more than phlegmatic, it's training, specific training, Open Lifestyle Center. You understand me? That's like a foretaste. Then just another thing. at the turn of the century, 19 to 20, in Battle Creek, they were using over 250 hydrotherapy modalities of treatment. Over 200, if I'm correct, it was about 270. So it wasn't only fermentation. Everything, you know, fermentation. Understand what I want to say. And this was 150 years ago, or 126. So you think that working for God, we should just use 3 and pray and God will do his work. Understand what I want to say? You cannot bypass training just because you are God's people and, you know. And then in this team, you set up mission, vision, objective. You know, people like to play with, you know, great words like strategic planning. Strategic planning is good when it's flexible. If you build it like many companies are building, you've seen people, you know, graphics, you know, sales, are we on target? No. You know, you miss something very important, which is, you know, in this environment, and especially working with people, you need to have flexibility. Maybe we set up, and it was good to have these objectives, and maybe the objectives are updated. But we're still working on objectives and, you know, targets. So caution about strategic plan. It's important to go through the process because it helps you to really do measurable things, not to just speak, okay, we'll do we'll save humanity, but you never get to the concrete things. Okay, we need to do this until this date and who is doing and so on. Then another step is to set up the right non-governmental organization. Governance. Why is it important? Why shouldn't we just work without an organization? Like, how do you get donations if you don't have an organization? You just, people give the, you know, they like you spoke, they give you money, you put in your pocket, and you know, you give it to the ministry, or no, you know, it's things were tested. So this is the way not only Adventists but non-Adventists run, and one of the reasons is because accountability. You know, you are a non-for-profit. You say that you will do great things for the world. People entrust you with resources. There should be accountability. How you use the resources. What are the channels? If there is feedback, if there is control over how those resources are used. And there is a framework for this structure, which is kind of universal around the world. So the wheel is invented already. So study local socio-economical and legal environment. Do you have Adventist lawyers in Kenya? Yeah, it's good to have a lawyer, a friend. Because the environment we live in is complex and lots of laws, and I want to I want to do this. No, you cannot. You can. Now, usually, we are indebted to a Western way of thinking leadership, in which there is a strong person and he has the vision, and then, you know, he kind of mobilizes everybody after the chief, and he's many times a charismatic person. He can sell his ideas and so on. I mean, that's right. I mean, even in the Bible, there were people like that. It's fine to have a charismatic leader and somebody, but I will submit to you that today's the realities are so complex, so diverse, so many variables to keep in account that one person cannot possibly do it. Even if he's the leader, yeah, because you need to have a president, you know, where everybody's president, that is trouble. You need to have a president, you need to have a leader, but I guess the model which currently serves best is team leadership, like at home. I mean, you are the boss, but in the kitchen, who is the boss? Okay, or in cleaning, or when you. So, you understand what I mean? Complementarity. I mean, there are moments when I go to the farmer, the head farmer, and I counsel with him. I ask him, what is your opinion? Because I know that he's a spiritual-minded person, and he might have a better idea than me. Complementarity, you know, teamwork. And you set up the structure as such. But there are other cultures where community is very important. Community is important. So in the Adventist history, the first sanitarium was not started by a visionary leader. It was started the church, a committee who got together, looked around and said, okay, Dr. So-and-so, you know, we call him to lead the sanitarium. And that's how they started. And that's another way to start. So it's not only one way. If there is a group of people, if the church wants something to start, then, you know, they look around and they need to do much of that, what I said until now, but involve somebody they think can be the leader as early as possible in the process so that he will know everything which went. We have another 10 minutes or how much? 20 minutes? Okay. I emphasize this element of faith because the church at large and the sanitarium project specifically demands faith, because otherwise, you know, you go crazy. I mean, in God's work, you need faith. You need the faith of Jonathan, who said that for the Lord, it's not a problem to gain victory to a few people or to a multitude. So, because, you know, like Elisha said, with us there are more. You know, there is the unseen host working. I mean, if the work should be left only on us, you know, oh my God forbid. So that's what we really need to pray. And as people involved, we need this to happen periodically, constantly, because you don't open the eyes at 30 and then open the eyes, you know. Those eyes have the tendency to close, because those realities are not so easy to be seen. And that's why Elijah prayed, open his eyes so that he may see. And he said, those who are with us are more than those who are with them. Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. So that's the way people, chariots of fire. Probably today they will have, you know, I don't know, some planes or sophisticated tanks just to convey. That's what we understand today as being power, yeah? Well, the point is that you really need to see that, because otherwise we are going counter current. And many times, even people close to us will discourage us. Think of, John Kelly. At 40 some, at 40 he started medical. He became a specialist at 46, 7. I think many people who heard him what he wants to do said, man, old man. Better of your grandchildren, and you need a genius to do. And so you really need to stretch. You are entertaining too limited ideas of the work for this time. You are trying to plan the work so that you can embrace it in your arms. It's natural, and that's what we do most of the time. Measurable. We are planning so that we can measure. And you can measure what you see, what is, and you are trying to plan the work so that you can embrace it in your arms. You must take broader views. Your faith is limited, is very small. Your conception of the work needs to be greatly enlarged. Go forward. God will work with great power if you will walk in all humility of mind before Him. This is very important. Humbleness. So it's not like, okay, God gave me this great plan, look at me. I'm usually humble, but, for this I really have to cheer. No, it's like John, you realize, actually I don't know why God, I think He made a mistake. Like Moses, and there are so many, brother so-and-so, physician, all those, yeah, but me. So walk in all humility. It is not faith to talk of impossibilities. Nothing is impossible with God. So that's why I said that, when people come to you, or you are about to hire in your team somebody who looks at impossibilities and he looks at the church, leadership, this is not good, it's a problem. You don't need somebody like that all the time around you. You anyway have trouble with faith and opening the eyes and see and believing. Then you have other people, and this I find a lot of support in this. God has qualified His people to enlighten the world. Who qualifies? God. And He qualifies if He calls you or me, He qualifies. He has entrusted them with faculties. Maybe they are dormant. Maybe you even don't realize they are there, these faculties. But that's why He gives difficulties. That's why He doesn't give you everything. Because those faculties are risen, are waken up, are strengthened by fighting, by difficulties, but impossibilities, by which they are to extend His work until it shall encircle the globe. That vision with, fire encircling the world, the medical missionary work encircling the globe. Sanitariums, schools, publishing houses, and kinder facilities. Today, publishing houses, you read, online publishing, all those, the today's version. But, health, education, literature. So you shouldn't forget these. God has qualified. So it's already done. So it's not a question. And then the Lord has presented matters to me again and again and give me instruction to say that God Himself is ruler and counselor and guardian of every sanitarium that shall be established. So who is Nick Dan, Nikolai Dan? Is the counselor? No. God Himself. So again, if you read the Spirit of Prophecy, you don't find this very often. Like every page, God instructed me to tell this, or God again and again. It's not very often this. So when she says that He presented again and again, that means it's something important. And that's exactly why, because we naturally, our eyes close to the divine realities. And we tend to see, well, we are poor, we don't have this, we don't have that, it's not possible, people say it's impossible, and now I have to do it. But God knew this, and so he instructed the servant to write that he himself will be the ruler and the counselor and guardian. So here I see that you have these iron, how do you call them, the windows? Pardon me? Yeah. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't do this, or in the sanitarium you should leave everything open. I'm not saying that, but it's a big thing to know that God is the guardian. And, sometimes, he allows people to come and steal. He doesn't talk about that kind of guardianship. I mean, they install a laptop, that's the easiest thing to replace. But there are some other things which he needs to be the guardian. Bad people, bad influences, some things which, we even don't see, but he sees. And it's important, faith is not presumption. Faith is a gift from God. Faith is something which God is calling you and is giving you faith. We only have this one thing. Viktor Frankl was a psychiatrist from Vienna, and he was Jew. He was taken to the concentration camp. It was 1940, and he began to study what's happening there as a scientist, psychologist. And of course, people did wrong things to him, but it's there where he realized that there is one place which nobody can touch. And that's the power to decide, our capacity to decide. If we don't want something and we decide no, nobody can, they can force you, they can, physically, but if you don't want, they cannot do anything. And so the power decision, and it's very important in this, with all humbleness, when somebody is called by God, or a group, to decide, like Daniel. There was a day when he had to decide, and he decided, okay, we'll do this, no matter the cost, we'll stand by this. Daniel and his friends. And then there was a day for Joseph to decide. As he was going to Egypt, miles away from his father's home, after anguish for several hours, where probably he was mad of God, and all the process of pain. You go through big pains, you do that. But then he came to a simple question: Would I listen to God? The God I know, the God my forefathers told me about, my father told me, or not? And what was his decision? Yes. And so that changed the course of his life, history, and so on. So that's very important. To the answer to that, and then daily to strengthen, then answer to faith. And sometimes you feel like God is forgot you, because you cannot. Why? So many things, so bad things happening at once and all together. But then to clinging there and ask for the eyes to be open to see the reality, and to realize that actually this brings out faculties which you didn't know about. They are dormant, But these fierce battles bring out the faculty he needs you to exercise in the future. So we stop here. This was a foretaste of how to start, and then we'll go in more details in the next sessions.
Thank you, Dr. Dan. We have, can give maybe 9 minutes to comments or questions regarding this subject. Any questions?
Well, there's one reason why there are no question. One, everything is clear, everything is complex. And it's a joke. Everything is foggy.
Thank you so much for that good presentation. If I heard you well, you mentioned that you want to begin a sanatorium to be good to incline it to the church, the biblical principles and prophecy.
What was it?
Prophecy, spirit of prophecy, the Bible, and the church. Now my question comes, sometimes the church can become difficult in supporting the vision, the idea that an individual or a few members in the church could be having. And the vision takes many years to come to fruition, to come to fruits. And especially if someone is beginning at the age of 50 with such a good idea, and by the time it is getting to work, then the ideas are faded from the person who initially had them. Is it okay that people can put themselves together? They could be members of the church and have an independent sanatorium that is supported by the church in terms of representation, in terms of 10% proceeds from the sanatorium to the church. And in terms of empathy to members of a church that may not support payments for the services offered.
Can you because it's not very clear what is the question. So could you rephrase or?
I can rephrase now in simpler terms and make it shorter. The church sometimes gets into politics.
I caught that maybe when the church is not so positive about this project,
Yes.
how do you deal with that? Yeah, that's the basic question.
That is the basic question.
Okay. One thing which I want to say is that never have a vision which asks other people to pay the bill. If you have a vision, be responsible to pay for it. Because usually other people don't pay for other vision. People pay for their own vision. The church is greatly relieved when you make it clear that your great ideas are not going to be paid by them. So you need to spell out that. Now that doesn't mean that you won't be happy if the church helps financially, but that's I advise not to to go to them and say, well, okay, we have this idea, now we want you to pay for it. Secondly, and we will talk about this, about what is a sanitarium in the spirit of prophecy, what is the concept. It's a complex organization. So we should not expect to go to a baker and to discuss with him and for him to be very enthusiastic about a sanitarium because he doesn't have the training to run a sanitarium. He doesn't have a clue. And it's the same with pastors. With few exceptions, many of them, they weren't trained other than being a pastor. But a sanitarium is a very complex institution. It's a medical institution where you need physicians and a specific training. It's a restaurant with a lot of diets, you know, special diets. It's a hotel. And so you cannot expect a pastor to know how to run a restaurant, how to run a hotel. So their expertise is limited. So we don't talk with them about how to cook or how to do the diets or how to do the treatments or how to. We talk to them. Okay, this is a ministry which supports the overall mission of the church to give the gospel to everybody. And this is the way we see that this will contribute to this. We want to be aligned with the church. So if you have counsels to us, and then about people, many times people seem to be nice on the outside, but then you know you network with the church and the church has its network and they tell, well, it just recently happened. You know, a guy seemed to be, you know, attaching to a team which is, he seemed to be very nice and I really like him because he seemed to have, he was not a medical professional, he was more on the business side and he was very risk-taking and was employed by the church, his brother. And, you know, he told me to be careful because his brother, this guy who seemed to me so good, he financially, he's done a lot of mistakes. He don't know how to manage. He got in a lot of trouble. And so be very careful. So it was very important, my connection or our connection with the church to prevent this. And so these are several areas, or how to minister, you know, with the chaplain, with several areas where they have expertise. You know, don't ask advice or get people involved for which people don't have expertise. It's a very simple thing. So if you kind of have very clear those boundaries, and also you understand what they expect from you, then it's friendship, it's collaboration. You don't tell them what to do. They don't tell you what to do in the area where they don't have expertise. And they accept that. Okay. And then, you know, if people have prejudice against you, you know, you need to pray, and with God's help, it's a good thing that in our leadership, people usually are changed from time to time. So given you have enough patience, things will change if not workable.
I also want to, first of all, thank you for the wonderful presentation. And I have a question, I think there are two. Number one, hearing you talking about or giving a presentation about a sanitarium makes me feel like we need to have this in all our cities. But then I think a lot of our health ministers or our health workers don't have access to this kind of information. Is it possible that OCI can probably come up with a course that can guide people who want to start and probably run a sanitarium? And then number two, I think there's a lot of challenge that we have with the Ministry of Healing who do not have a background in conventional medicine. Sometimes the method, they ask them to like put garlic into their eyes, and I don't know if that is probably very right. So in most cases, health workers who don't have background from conventional medicine, sometimes their methods are a bit fanatic, go extreme, and then most people, especially those who are more knowledgeable in the society, feel like maybe what we are presenting is not correct, is not helpful, and so would you recommend that probably go deep into the ministry of healing, especially from the concept that we have from the church, that they may need to probably have some basics from the medical school to just augment the gaps that we can have?
Yeah, I think shortly the counsel is don't go beyond your training. So don't go beyond your competency. That's the golden rule. You are trained and you are competent for doing physical therapy, then you do physical therapy. You were trained to be a massage therapist, and you do massage therapies, but you weren't trained to put a diagnosis. Usually somebody else put a diagnosis when it's therapeutical massage and tells patient, okay, you go for therapeutical massage, and then tell to the massage how to do it. So I think this is a real danger, because people mistake being in service of God and being Adventist. People mistake that with their profession or their competency. I mean, today, being a physician, you really have to go through a training. You learn physiology, physiopathology, and probably one of the most important things you learn is diagnosis. And there are a lot of comparative diagnoses. There are things which looks alike, but they are not the same thing. And so you really need that. As a rule, wherever treatments are prescribed, you need somebody who put a diagnosis, because you cannot prescribe treatments without being a physician, without having a diagnosis. In our lifestyle center, we have patients come Sunday afternoon, and then physicians start to see them Sunday afternoon and Monday. And then they order tests in the morning, Tuesday morning. Tuesday is the first day of treatment. Sometimes they cannot give certain treatments because there are questions and they are not clear about certain elements of their diagnosis. So we work with a clinic in town. In the morning we send the blood, and in the afternoon by 1 or 2 o'clock we have the results. So by Wednesday the physician already prescribed the right treatment. But it cannot done without that. And so when you don't have the training, okay, garlic in the eyes, or I don't know what ointment, or fomentation for everything. So it's very important to keep in and to respect, because otherwise you bring disrespect to God's. There is a principle which I think is the golden rule in working with God. So if you work for Cleveland Clinic or for Mayo Clinic, you are expected to be top. When you work for God, then isn't God bigger and higher than Mayo Clinic? Or so I think, or when we build a house, in Kenya, yeah. Let's say there is Adventists who have a house which is worth 1 million, yeah? Then if a lifestyle center costs 2 or 3 million, oh, that's impossible. It's never. A lifestyle center should be several $100,000. Maybe that's what we can afford in Kenya because we are poor. You understand? I mean, a house of a member can be $1 million. But a house for God cannot be 10 million, because it's a memorial for God, a sanitarium. And going back to what you said, yeah, I think it's important. We started that. Probably you weren't here. We have already on the web this material here. It's a sort of franchise idea in which we try to standardize as much as we could. Yeah, probably there is space to write even a guideline to be more, more with more details. But it's in the making. We already have this material. But I think when we talk about this, we should not talk about lots of them. I think strategically we should think, okay, this country doesn't have a home retreat is not a sanitarium. We will see about this. So it doesn't have, okay, let's focus on one, a good one. And let's make it a memorial for God. We are in 2026. By the time if Jesus doesn't come back, by the time it's finished, it's 2028, 9. Should be at that level, should give treatments at that level. We look around. We cannot say, yeah, because we work with God, we can have these rundown showers with black things around, when we enter the shower, and it smells of old the building, but we work for God. We cannot say that. Because we work for God, this place has to be special. This place has to be very comfortable with the comfort of 2026, no comfort of 30 years ago. So that's the way we have to think. Yeah, we are poor. Yeah, usually God's people were poor. That's from the beginning to the end. But as poor as they were, in the since 70s when the Battle Creek kind of took off until 1900, there were about 26, 27 institutions raised up around the world, and those people were poor. I mean, they were really poor. I mean, they didn't have laptops or like we have. But still, that was God's miracle. You know how Loma Linda, you know how all these places started. They didn't have the money. There was pure providence from God. And so I think God deserves us to think highly about what we do and we are about to do. With humbleness, with counseling, no pride or ego, but quality. It's a memorial for God. The Adventist Sanitarium System Accelerator is not just the plans. It's just one component. I've been working with an architect in Hungary for architecture of a lifestyle center, and with the war and everything was staring. So we got this idea. Let's ask him to do 5 versions, and so that's that's why we have them. But that's only one. The other one is standard operation procedures, SOPs, and that's a huge huge area. The way I taught it, because we don't have resources and a team to work just on these, the way we were thinking to do this, to set up a sort of open source platform where people can input everything they find working, and then corroborate it with different research, because there is research in hydrotherapy. There is research on the impact of hydrotherapy, like in heart failure. So somebody started to work on this platform, and I don't know if you have people here who can contribute. Will speed up the process to create such a platform, such a website where all physicians from the Lifestyle Center are connected. They can post things about what worked and worked for 5 years consistently. And then, you know, younger Adventists can even do studies. They finish the medical school with these. So, you know, the SOPs is the second component. The third one is this training, annual training, because even if you give something to people, they still need to see how it's functioning. So that's this training. Actually, it's overlapping at Ergelia, which I showed you in September, starting 20 September. It's overlapping with a session, and so those coming, they see everything we do. More than that, the leaders of different departments meet with them, so they have opportunities to ask questions about everything going in the Lifestyle Center. And so, like, seeing is believing. So they, and then we also have some lectures about what is most important. And the fourth component is this IT, and the IT component includes data collection on the patients, includes this communication between specialists and, you know, nurses around the lifestyle centers, and also follow-up. We are trying now to experiment with the follow-up because it's a big issue. You know, it has a huge impact, 10 days, but then they go home. Then how do you help them home to remind themselves and keep on track? And so we are working on that also. We need help.
I think another one can be to have the sanitariums have a place where they can register, so that there's an umbrella sanitarium body, and then you know that there's a sanitarium in Mombasa, in Hungary, in XYZ, even for legal consideration or for standardization.
Yeah. No, I hear what you say. There are two views on this in the Adventist Church. There are people like me who are not afraid of standardization or on bringing these lifestyle centers together in the sense like OCI, yeah. Because I see strength, I see branding, I see, you know, when the institution has a lot of experience, then it can share with others who are younger, nobody knows about it, but, you know, the standards are similar or of care. So I see potential, but there are other people in the church. They fear centralization. They fear like Kellogg and, you know, it was everything centralized there. I think we need balance. There is a place for what you say, and sooner or later, it will be a blessing to have something like that. From the branding, just think of branding. You know, you have to to work with somebody, and then you pay a lot of money. But if there will be a branding, certain colors in Kenya, in Hungary, in Italy, everybody knows, okay, these are Adventists. It used to be in the 50s, 60s that the best hospitals in Africa were Adventist, and everybody knew, okay, this Adventist you can trust. Yeah, I agree. Okay, the last question, and then we write the rest.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Shotwom. Talking about establishing phases for the project and their costs, I wanted to know whether there are some key factors that really contribute to how you determine from which phase are you going to move from one level to another. As you have said, at times it is quite complex as you start, the limited resources you have, the limited human resource you have. How do you work around to see that perhaps you have realistic, progression from one phase to another?
Well, actually, you imagine the journey. Yeah, it's pretty much like in a business. Yeah, you have nothing, but you have an idea. I will sell this. Okay, what are the steps? And then, if you like seven steps. You can even feed it to AI, and AI brings back, seven steps. No, I want 10. Okay, 10. So you understand. So you really go through the process mentally, as good as possible. And being more people, then you all go through the process. And okay, if you don't have a piece of land, then maybe one of the steps will be acquire a piece of land. Or if you want to buy something already built, acquire a property with this kind of. That's why the projects there helps you, because even if you buy something already built, okay, I need it to be similar to this, or to have this, because something can look very nice. But then after you buy it, realize, man, I cannot work here. It doesn't meet the health department requirements, doesn't meet what you want to do. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Then, the rest, okay, do fundraising for this, or try to, maybe 20% of the resources needed. And how much time? Start building, when? Assemble a team, when? Not too early, because, who will pay that team? Maybe 2 months before, but in order to have them 2 months before, some of them needs to be trained 1 year. Okay, I need to start 1.5 years before, Then you discover the stages, the most important stages, and then you put them down, you put a deadline, you put resources. Did I answer the question? Yeah. Okay. We want to answer all the questions, but write. If you have other, because you will forget, maybe write and give it to Andy. So I think we will see each other in church, no? Until then, I wish you fast preparation for Sabbath, and let's pray together before we close this. Would you like to pray for us? Because I've been speaking a lot, so. I thought,
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for the information, saying the enlightenments that you brought us to our minds to work all together to reach people, to fasten your second coming. So, Lord, we are so much inspired so much to think that your idea is the best idea that we should copy. Lord, you gave us a lot of informations. We are so grateful. And as we depart from this and get prepared for the Sabbath, be with us, keep us, and we pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.